I have made videos on this subject before. However, one of my viewers is a bit still confused, thinking that they were other humans on the planet with Adam and Eve. That's not scripture. There's nowhere in the Bible is that said. Now, if you follow the scripture without putting your opinion in it, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, which means empty. Then he goes on to explain what he did, created the animals. Then he created man, singular. Nowhere in that is it plural. Until he made Eve out of the one man, which is scientific fact that when he made Adam, me being a man, have both chromosomes, X and Y. Females only have X. So after God created Adam, meaning man, then he took Eve, the X chromosome, and created woman, because she is taken from my flesh. Read the scriptures. Now, again, it is clear, here's the error. Because God said in Genesis 1, he created mankind, male and female. Male and female, he created them. Okay, now in Genesis chapter 2, after he explained that he created mankind, he goes and gives the description and details of how he did it. He then says he took the soil, the dirt, to create Adam. So you see, it is not saying that there's dual creation, which I heard one other person say. No. Now, when he made Adam, another clear indication that there were no other humans on the planet. The animals, he said, they had their partners, their pairs. But he said for Adam, there was no one comparable or compatible to him. He could not mate with animals, so that's why God created Eve, woman, out of Adam, so that they could be compatible, so they together can reproduce. You see, if he wanted just one sex, he would have made it possible for a man to create offspring on his own, and there would be no need for a woman. But he created the female so that she can carry the child after the man plants the seed. He created two. God did. Not anybody's opinion created this. So, after he created the two, he says now the two shall become one flesh. Scientific fact again, half DNA from one parent, half from the other, creates one human being. All science is of God. Many make the mistake thinking that science is separate from God, but that's nonsense. I give a quick one, which I said before, a grape. God created the grape and the science within the grape. Wine, raisins, all kinds of stuff, wheat, flour, cake, all from the wheat. That's the science of those things. It's just the know-how, just like the word science means knowledge. Okay, so for those who still have a problem believing that, I have wrapped it up with this very easy explanation. After the flood, oh yes, they married brothers and sisters. Remember, Adam lived to 930 years. I said before, my stepmom is one of 16 children from the same mother and father. My mother is one of 11 from the same mother and father. In just a regular human short lifespan. Adam lived for 130 years. Somehow God made it in the Bible, just says the age of the men, never recording the age of the women. Except for one in the New Testament says she was 80 or 90 or something like that. Or anyway, that's not the point here. Now, while their age is mentioned, but for the death, that's only recorded in Genesis, only the men. So, how many kids do you think they could have? If one, within 100 years, you can have 11, and that or 16. or some even have more in history. I don't know personally, but 930 years. And the short life maturity that it takes for a human to develop into adulthood, to recreate their own offspring. So you see, and now, while you wrestle with that, who is the creator of DNA? If he created humans and designed them and to reproduce this way, brothers and sisters, in the beginning, but then after the flood, he said to no longer do that. Because now you have had, by the time the floods came, a dilution. Now this is my input, but it is scientific fact. If the two, and in hundreds of years, 930 years, just Adam alone, not counting the offspring of how many years they lived and how many children they had, and so on, and them intermarrying. Now, what do you think about this one? After the flood, Noah, with his wife, Noah's 3 sons, and their wives. Now, I said to my viewer, now, what if I entertain that idea that, okay, without God's knowledge, something else created humans, when God said that he's the only one that did that and only created the first man and had to create a woman to be comparable so that they could multiply and subdue the earth, clearly explaining it was only 2. Now, if these 3 wives of the 3 sons of Noah came from this imaginary other human race, the 3 brothers had to mate with the 3 wives. The offspring in the middle, guess what? They're cousins. So incest, no matter how you look at it, you want to consider it in the garden and to now, or after the flood, the only 8 souls on the planet. And what I said in the comment was, unless there were other boats and they were just smarter than God, and God wasn't strong enough to wipe out the earth like he said he was trying to do. And but it still doesn't change the fact that the 3 sons, even if these wives are from other people, still have cousins, offspring. They had to intermarry within themselves, that you and I are here today. So nowhere in the scripture can you get away from the incest in the early reproduction of humans. Then afterwards, Lot slept with his daughters. They got him drunk, and which was wrong. Noah's, one of his son, did something gay, indication in the scriptures, to his dad while he was drunk. Wrong. Homosexuality plus father and son. Wrong. Now, you cannot escape that. That's how we reproduce. There are people today that are, unfortunately, doing that stuff. And they come out perfectly normal. Some not. But it is a fact of scripture. No one can escape that. We all know that they rested on the mountains of Ararat, which they found the dimensions of the boats there. So how do you explain that? Please explain to me how then, if you don't agree with the incest in the garden from Adam and Eve and their children, Cain and Abel marrying their sisters, look it up. There were no other humans. They had to do it that way. And closing with this, explain to me then, how do you get away from the 3 sons, brothers, and their children? One had a son, the other one had a daughter, one had twins, but they intermarried. It's still incest. You cannot get away from it. God allowed it because he is the creator. He can do that. And then when he says, no longer do you need to do that, he set it up that way. I'm not more powerful than him, nor are you, nor is any human on the planet to rewrite what he said. That is how we are here today. It's plain and simple. I know it irks a lot of people, but you cannot explain it away. It's scripture. I'm Pastor Rich, Walking Ministries Online, and I will see you soon.